What up, YouTube? Topaz Jace back for another review. But before we jump into the review, first I got to give you context. First, I got to let you know exactly how I feel about this artist leading up to this project, so you know exactly how I'm feeling as I listen to this joint. But if you feel as though you know everything there is to know about him, feel free to fast forward to this point here. But who is NLE Choppa? He's a Memphis rapper that's signed to Warner Brothers and got some distribution through United Masters, which this is like the first person that I've heard to actually claim United Masters that's in the industry. The genre of music that he does is the new age commercial music, which is more of a blend of drill and trap. And with that in mind, I will say he is the most conscious of all of the rappers who are in the commercial industry, in this commercial space, where he speaks about a lot of things from being depressed to actually eating healthy, not trying to diss women consistently. Like, he actually came out not long ago saying that he does not want to rap about violence anymore. But as far as that goes, we gonna see. Like, it's hard to be in this genre, especially look at how he came up in the game with his particular most famous songs, how you can just deviate from that and remain with your audience. As those most notable songs would be Shotta Flow, Walk 'Em Down with Roddy Ricch, To Camelot. All of these songs have a consistent theme to them. Now, when you look at NLE as an individual, I would say he has a pretty polished delivery and a flow. He's not unique though, like there's definitely room for growth in all areas, but I will say by him leaning more into that, he creates some solid projects. He has moments of lyricism. I ain't gonna come out here and say he got great punchlines or he's an amazing lyricist or nothing, but he actually does attempt, which is better than the vast majority of people who create this same caliber of music. Overall, he is not a pioneering nor great artist, but yet he's still solid though. And that filters down to all three of the projects that he's released. His first one, Cottonwood, second one, Top Shotta, and the last one that he dropped in 2020 was From Dark to Light. Now, here's the real talk of it. If you heard one, you heard them all. He's not that diverse of an artist. I will say each of them at least gives me one song in particular. Like, my favorite songs out of all three of these would be Double Back, Chances, and Moonlights. But I will say Cottonwood was his introduction to the game, maybe his most notable, because that's where all of his biggest hits came from. Top Shotta was more super extended because he wanted to do more freestyles and stuff in there, and it wasn't his best. I think From Dark to Light was his most complete and solid art, but I wouldn't say that any of these projects were really all that amazing. Like, I kept only one song off of each of these, and they still have the chance of being deleted off a playlist. And now I bring you the album review of NLE Choppa, Me vs. Me. And if this can be summarized in one word, I would say disappointment. I'm not the only one that heard the news of, oh, he's no longer going to be rapping about violence, right? Clearly you're not. Clearly that's all you got to talk about, you feel me? And I mean, maybe it's for the better, because this is like the San Francisco 49ers deciding not to give the ball to Deebo Samuels and think that they gonna win the NFC Championship game. Not gonna happen. He's clearly not as talented as many would like him to be able to pull off something like that. Me vs. Me, you looking at the artwork. Doesn't this remind you of T.I. versus T.I.P.? But yet, in that album, there was an actual concept. T.I. is a different person from T.I.P. and they make different music and they went against each other. When you break down this project, he's just doing the same thing that he's been doing through all of these other projects. Honestly, I was hoping for a joint where he's like, okay, this was the old me rapping about the drill and the violence and all that, but this is the new me right here, talking about how my body, I'm trying to treat my body better, I'm trying to meditate, I'm trying to do better. That's what I was hoping this would be, but no, it's just a continuation of all of his old projects, which is emphasized with Shotta 6, which is another in the long series of the drill sound that he consistently have been putting out. These right here is him supposed to be just going in and spitting, but he's giving you like the bare minimum of actual bars here, and it's all just violence. That's cool. If it worked, if the beat was a little better, if it worked well with him, but my opinion, didn't quite pan out. The next song I want to talk about is Jumpin', because I think at this point of making the project, he ultimately came to the realization that he ain't got nothing else. He clearly ain't got nothing else to rap about besides being super flossy, trying to make catchy hooks and things of that nature, but he can't even do that, to be real. Like, his hooks are just short verses, and he tries to get away with it by having energy, but I don't think it pans out as well as he thinks it does. And on top of the fact that just because this is an edited version doesn't mean this is taking away from the content of what you're delivering when you overtly said that you were going against this content. But this was the point of no return where he just said, F it, I'm going to go all the way and do what I do best. And as I said, this is for the better, because he's clearly not prepared mentally, lyrically, to be able to do something like make a full project not about violence. Like, that's honestly a cop-out to a degree when you look at all of the individuals that's within this particular genre and stuff. They're copping out by all doing the same thing because that's the popular thing. And people rock with it because they rock with it, but you not having no actual lyricism, you not actually having anything to talk about, you having sporadic bars from time and time again, that's just showing that you have a far ways to go in your progression of being in the music game. There's only really 2 songs on this that I considered keeping for my playlist, starting with that I'm a Dog, where this is, you know, webby I'm a Dog, but updated with the times into more of the drill and the trap music on what we see right now. And I like the beat, I like the vibe, I like it. It's just, there are moments there where NLE Choppa just isn't 100% on point with the beat like he is on a bunch of this project you did, and that annoys me to the degree that I'm like, you know what, there's better out there. Still Hood wasn't one of the songs that I considered keeping, man, but I did enjoy the direction in which he tried to go with this. He took that Daz Band Whip It sample and tried to turn it into a drug dealing type track. Well, I mean, it does no justice to the original, and that's not the reason why I dislike this joint, because hey, there's been other tracks that has done that, like Push It to the Limit, where Rick Ross took that to a whole nother level. It's just NLE Choppa just isn't skilled enough to be able to pull that off. And the only other song that I was thinking about keeping was that Lick Me Baby, where that was all sexual innuendo. I wouldn't even say it was innuendo, it was all just sex talk all the way around, and it worked out to a degree. I like the production, I like how that one kind of came together, but it just pales in comparison to some of the better songs that he did in his career so far. But you know we can't wrap this thing on up without talking about the bars. So as I said in the beginning of this review, NLE Choppa is not the most lyrical individual, but he does make an attempt. And because he makes an attempt, I will go ahead and do a ball showcase here, but he's not very good at it. Like, he has moments of it being interesting, but that's really about it, you dig? This is something that takes years and years of practice in order for an individual to actually become quality at it, and he's still young, he still has plenty room to grow. He just needs to focus in on it, learn more of the basics, and put in more work and more time, and then he'll be able to put in punchlines like these consistently throughout the project instead of sporadically. But some of the interesting bars I would say would be, you better stay in the house, like the dude from That's So Raven, where he's talking about Corey, which he got a spin-off from That's So Raven called Corey Stay in the House. I was never a fan of That's So Raven, and looking at how Raven Simone has been outside of all of this stuff, I understand why now, but I see what he tried to do there. That was a moment. How he said, white boy with the bomb in the cut, Tom Brady. Interesting. Like, okay, Tom Brady can throw a bomb, as we seen in the divisional round before he got knocked out. But what he's talking about, a white dude that got some drugs for sale and all of that, which, alright, that's cool, but forewarning, that's the police. May not be the police right now, but probably will be. Look at White Boy Rick. And the last bar that I want to go ahead and point out was how he said he scraped the serial, now y'all both is ghosts. Well, that was cool where he's talking about, I'm gonna scrape off the serial number of the gun, so now it's a ghost gun, and I'm doing that so that I can mark you, so therefore you're a ghost too. Like, these are not phenomenal bars by no means, but they are decent placeholders for when he does ultimately become a better rapper in the future, if he so decides to be that, if he does decide to focus more on lyricism than anything. But he's really just right now at his Lil Wayne, block is hot, I got some bars, but it's merely flow, delivery, energy that I'm bringing to people, and this is what people want from me. But in the future, if he does become more serious, he does have the fundamentals to actually become better, but this is not it. So overall, give this joint 4 out of 10. Go ahead, listen to it one time.